So we are watching landmark judgments for UPSC preparation, and this course is a supplement for your polity. And I had also made few other courses which have wide number of references in your Lakshmikant. So do check these courses also. And now we are into our sixth case, Waman Rao case. And if you want my Facebook ID or the particular PDF file of this particular lesson or of any of my lessons, you can contact me there. I will provide you the PDF. So the name of this case is Waman Rao versus Union of India case, and it happened in 1981. And just have a little recap what is happening till now. That in Shankari Prasad case, the court says whether amendments come under Article 13 or not, and court says that laws and amendments are two different things. Then in Golaknath case, the issue was whether fundamental rights can be amended or not, and the court says you cannot amend fundamental rights. Then in Keshav Nanda Bharati case, questions the validity of amendment 24, 25, 26 and 29th, and the court invents basic structure doctrine. And Waman Rao case is also a landmark case because as we have seen in Minerva Mills case help in evolving the basic structure doctrine. Waman Rao case also helps in evolving it, right? So the issue or the question in Waman Rao case was the validity of Article 31A was put in issue, and Article 31A we know is related to land acquisition, and Article 31B is related to 9th schedule and all these things. So this particular case is also related to land reforms, right? And one more thing I want to say that you will find very less information about Waman Rao case on YouTube because it is a complicated case. The timeline is a little bit confusing. So try 2 times to understand this, and if you are not understanding it, it's fine, right? Move on to the effects of this particular case because for UPSC the effects are more important than the case itself, right? So the timeline is a little bit confusing. Let's see what was the case. So there was an act called Maharashtra Agriculture Land Act 1962, and it was revised from time to time. The amendments were there in the Maharashtra Agriculture Land Act 1962. Now petition was filed that it breached fundamental rights. Now remember this terminology is used before the Keshav Nanda Bharati case, because after the Keshav Nanda Bharati case anything which is in question must check whether it is violating or damaging basic structure or not. Therefore a petition was filed to whether it is breaching fundamental rights or not, and Article 31A and 31B was also brought under challenge, and High Court rejected all these challenge, right? So this thing had happened before Keshav Nanda Bharati case. Now against this, a case was filed in Supreme Court in the case of Dattatreya Govind versus the State of Maharashtra 1977. So after Keshav Nanda Bharati case happened, against the review, when the petition was filed and rejected in High Court, against this again a case is filed in Supreme Court by the name Dattatreya Govind versus the State of Maharashtra, and this appeal is also rejected, right? But this decision was delivered during emergency. This particular time 1977 was a time of emergency, and this decision was delivered during emergency. After emergency, 44th amendment deleted 31A, right, and right to property. So after emergency in the 44th amendment happened in 1978, brought in 1978, and it deleted 31A and right to property. And now the petitioner thought, okay, the Article 31A was in question, and since we have a basic structure doctrine now, and since Article 31 is itself deleted, and the High Court and the Supreme Court here in Dattatreya Govind versus State of Maharashtra case said, they checked the particular Maharashtra Agriculture Land Act with respect to Article 31A and said that no, they are coherent with the Constitution. And now since the Article 31A is itself deleted, the petitioner again goes to case for the review of the Dattatreya case, and the Waman Rao case was the review case of the Dattatreya case, right? I hope I made it clear what was Waman Rao case. Waman Rao case was the review case of the Dattatreya Govind case, right? And Now moving to the issues. Now since the Article 31A is deleted, now you cannot, or the petitioner cannot question whether Article 31A is damaging or violating fundamental rights or any such thing, because it is not in constitution now, right? It is deleted. So the issue is whether in enacting Article 31A by amendment, Parliament transgressed its power. So you can see the difference, what is happening here. We are not saying whether 31A is okay or not, whether 31A is violating fundamental rights or basic structure. We are saying whether Parliament transgressed its power. We are checking whether, what are the outcomes of Article 31A, or what are the effects of Article 31A, right? Again, the second issue was Article 31A gives sufficient protection to laws from being challenged, right? So this is an issue whether whether you can put something in 9th schedule or under Article 31A and it can bar judicial review. So whether this can be done, right? Now Article 31B and 31C is still in constitution, and therefore you can see what are the issues against them. The issue is whether Article 31B, which is 9th schedule, can be challenged for violating fundamental rights. So you can clearly see the difference between Article 31A, which is deleted, so we cannot question it now, and Article 31B, 31C, and they are in constitution. We are saying whether Article 31A, whether Article 31C can be challenged for violating fundamental rights. These are the issues, and whether 40th amendment valid or not, right? So these are the issues of Waman Rao case. And moving on to the judgment. So the court says it would be a misconception that every case which is violating fundamental rights also damage basic structure. Therefore, First Amendment doesn't violate basic structure doctrine. So there was a, I already told you that the basic structure doctrine is evolving in Minerva Mills and Waman Rao case. Right. So in Waman Rao case, the court said or evolved the basic structure doctrine that even if something is violating fundamental right, that doesn't mean it is also damaging basic structure. Yes, you can or for some social reforms or for some initiatives, government has to breach or curb down the fundamental rights of the of a particular person, but still it is not it doesn't mean it is damaging basic structure. This was the first judgment in this particular case, and therefore since First Amendment, obviously we know what First Amendment is. If you had seen Ramesh Thapar case, if not, you can go to the playlist and you will find the Ramesh Thapar case there. And in Ramesh Thapar case or the First Amendment, the freedom of speech is curbed down, the freedom of trade is curbed down, right? And land reforms were put there, which damages or which breaches the fundamental right, which is right of property. So right to property is also a fundamental right back then, right? So this First Amendment obviously breaches or violating fundamental right, but at the same time doesn't violate basic structure. This is the judgment. Then any act can find itself placed in 9th schedule if they satisfy that they do not harm basic structure. Now in this particular case, the court said, okay, you can put something in 9th schedule. We are not declaring 9th schedule because we are not declaring First Amendment unconstitutional. Therefore we are not declaring 9th schedule unconstitutional. 9th schedule is valid. It is okay. And if you want to put any law or any act under 9th schedule, the condition is that they do not harm basic structure, right? Court held that extension of Lok Sabha was valid since the 40 and the 42nd amendment came during emergency, and the tenure of government was increased for 1 year, and it is not mentioned, or you can say the Lok Sabha was not legally not legally existing. So the amendments brought during that time, are they legal or not, are they constitutional or not? And the court said held that extension of Lok Sabha was valid and lawful, or all the procedures are followed, and as a result 40th and 42nd amendment also becomes valid, right? And what are the effects? The effects are, this case re-clarifies various doubts aroused out of Keshavananda Bharti case. So it clarifies about the doubts of basic structure doctrine, and Supreme Court declares that any state policy would not be held void because of its inconsistency with fundamental right. The state must have to frame some policies, some acts, or DPSP in general, you can say, has a priority over fundamental rights. Then clear line of determination between the acts previous to and after Keshav Nanda Bharti case are also, marked from this particular Waman Rao case. Now it is easier to decide which law can be challenged and which are not. The court decides that we are going to review all the laws after the Keshav Nanda Bharti case, and we will not touch the cases or the laws which are before Keshav Nanda Bharti case. And I had told you the reason. The reason is very simple. The court don't want to get into any chaos and don't want to create a chaos into in the countrywide. So they don't touch the laws which are implemented before Keshav Nanda Bharti case, and they decided that the cases or the laws or the acts or the amendments, anything which are after Keshav Nanda Bharti case, are open for judicial review. So this is Waman Rao case. That's all, and let's meet you in the next case. Thanks.